Okay, so yesterday we worked on adding polynomials. Today we are going to practice subtracting them. And it's honestly going to be a very similar process. The only thing is that you will obviously have a subtraction sign in front of the second set of parentheses, which all that this is saying is that to let's read it. To subtract polynomials, remember that a negative, that subtraction sign, in front of a parentheses is a -1 that needs to be distributed. So for example, if I have a negative sign in front of this parentheses, that means I'm multiplying -1 times everything inside. So -1 times 2 would result in a -2x cubed. A -1 times -3x would result in a +3 because a negative times a negative makes positive. -1 times +7 results in -7. So you can also just note that every one of their signs is the opposite. This 2 was negative and now it's, or I'm sorry, this 2 was positive and now it's negative. The 3 was negative, now it's positive. 7 was positive, but now it's negative. So we're going to do essentially that and then combine our like terms just to subtract. So here's a little example. This is all done for you. There's nothing you need to add on this slide. But to give you some step-by-step examples, you have x cubed plus 4y minus 2x cubed. Well, remember you need to distribute the -1. That negative is the same as a -1, so that needs to distribute behind. So x cubed will stay the same, 4y will stay the same, and then -1 times 2 makes this become -2x cubed. Then you identify or combine your like terms. So we have x cubed and a -2x cubed highlighted in blue. Those two are our like terms. So 1 minus 2 gives me a -1, so it's -x cubed plus 4y. Now, to do some actual examples, oh wait, sorry, I forgot. I have one more example solved out for us. So this one here, x cubed plus 4y minus 2x cubed. This is the exact same problem. Never mind, we don't need to go through that again. We can actually do an example. So it just says to subtract. So we've got -10x squared minus 3x plus 7, and we're subtracting x squared minus 9. So remember, we first need to distribute our -1 to this back parentheses. So everything else in the front, though, it has nothing to distribute, so it's going to stay the same. So it's going to be -10x squared, and then minus 3x, and plus 7. I'm going to make this slightly larger. Okay. And then now we have -1 times positive x squared. So that is -x squared. And then -1 times -9 becomes +9. So remember, it's just changing the signs. This x squared started positive, now it's negative. 9 started negative, and then now it is positive. So our next step is to identify our like terms. So remember, to be a like term, it needs to have the same variable and the same exponent. So -10x squared, it does have a like term. I didn't get that whole thing. Oh man. Oops. -10x squared. If we highlight that yellow, it is a like term with the other -x squared. Then we look, we've got -3x, but nothing else has just a sole x with it. So we look now at 7, and it does have a like term, the 9. So we can highlight that one. and then combine. Negative 10x squared minus x squared, or minus a 1x squared, is negative 11x squared. And then negative, oh, we gotta highlight this, y'all. Drives me nuts. Okay, then negative 3x will just get carried. There's nothing to combine with it. And then 7 plus 9 more, we have now 16. Each of these are their own individual terms. There are no like terms, so my answer is that, negative 11x squared minus 3x plus 16. And another example here, we've got 7m to the fourth power minus 2m squared. And then we're going to subtract 5m to the fourth power minus 5m squared plus 8. So again, we rewrite this and make sure we get rid of our parentheses. This first one, there's nothing to distribute, so it's going to stay 7m to the power of 4. Why is it not typing? Okay, and then minus 2m squared. And then we distribute our negative 1 or change each of the signs. This 5 starts positive, so now it's going to become negative. Negative 5m with exponent 4. This middle term, the 5m squared, was negative, so now it's going to be positive 5m squared. 8 started positive, now it's going to become negative. So then we just go and identify any like terms. So we have, oh, there we go. Now we're not struggling so hard to see. Okay, so we have 7m to the fourth power. This one will have a like term. It is a like term with negative 5m. We have then negative 2m squared, which it also does have a like term with 5m squared. And then we have just negative 8. There's nothing to combine with it, so we're not going to leave it highlighted. So then let's combine. 7 minus 5 leaves me with 2m to the power of 4s. And then our green, negative 2 plus 5 more leaves me with 3m squared. And then we add on the negative 8 to the end. These are each different terms, so there's nothing else to combine. I am done. And that is it on the subtraction.